Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap from Casa de Marchese. We are celebrating 3 years of On Tap Sports Network today. I am Ron Luce, joined by the Juice Man himself. We are talking about a 21-0 Chicago Bears victory, 3 touchdowns in the win. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. This is baseball. Cubs win 21-0 today over the lousy Pittsburgh Pirates. What a game to make up for the absolute gong show that was the last 2 days. But before we get into all the nitty-gritty, Juice, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Nagy called a good offensive strategy.
Yeah, right? Finally, right? We've been waiting
right?
for this.
They ran the football.
The
Justin
deep pass
Fields was nice.
The deep pass worked a little bit, you know.
No, it was it's kind of we got a lot of thoughts, going into today's game. There's a lot of good, obviously, when you win 21-0. So, yeah, doing good at first. Cheers. I know I got water because it's been a long day already.
Cheers.
For On Tap Sportsnet, 3 years. Two OGs here, sitting from the start of this thing, having a really nice time.
Yeah.
Celebrating the whole company. Everybody does such a damn good job around here.
Big facts.
Let's celebrate that for a second before we celebrate a 21-0 win. Cheers to On Tap Sportsnet for everything that, we've done in the past 3 years and everybody who supported us.
Yes,
I think that's
absolutely.
the biggest thing. Everybody who's come out and said, hey, we listen to your guys' stuff. If you've dapped us up at a sporting event, if you've, bought a shirt, if you've listened to a podcast, hey, at the end of the day, we are not here without our fans. And we've had one hell of a run to start our little small company run so far.
Yeah.
And I'll say I'm hoping for, 30 more. 10 more of these that we celebrate.
Yeah.
Where there's 30 years worth. And maybe the next celebration is us, at a nice hotel with a bunch of, some champagne. And maybe a few of you are in person, in attendance for it. But let me just say, awesome company, awesome people.
Yes.
And ready to talk about some Cubs baseball.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah.
I know it's weird to sit next to you, but
it is weird, but it's fun.
I see you eye to eye, and I'm like, fuck.
So different. Juice and I are so used to doing this from South Bend and Orland Park. So doing this in the basement of, I guess, what we could consider On Tap headquarters, essentially.
A lot of White Sox stuff. Thank God the lights off down here.
Yeah, it's
a lot of Packer stuff as well.
It's bad. My skin is burning as we speak.
Cubs.
Oh, Johnny Nani.
The biggest. This is Pat.
It's Pat Comiskey.
You see,
special guest from Pat Comiskey.
Oh, fuck the Cubs.
Our resident absolute Cubs hater.
Welcome.
How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man?
How are you?
Hey, how are you? Good to meet you.
Good to see you, man.
Hey.
I'll let you guys back to it.
No,
hey, thanks.
I know you guys put 3 touchdowns up on Pittsburgh today. Props.
Yeah, hey, 3 touchdowns on the Steelers is a good day. You know what I mean?
Pat, are you donating your left leg to Eloy Jimenez? Is that a thing? Just your quick thoughts.
Yeah, both my
White Sox fan here.
Real
quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. Eloy, not so good.
Dylan Cease is still fine, so we still won the trade, but it's fine.
This is true. This is true. We'll
forever and always.
We'll leave it at that. All right, Pat. Thank you for joining.
Absolutely. You guys better wrap up because I'm gonna fuck this dude up.
Pat Comiskey, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go read his stuff too at ontapsportsnet.com. But Juice, let's talk about it really quick. It's really hard to be upset. We always joke when the Cubs get a good win.
Sure.
There's not a lot to talk about. Because we're not bitching about anything. We're
No.
not upset about anything. There's nothing to be sad about. And it's really hard to be sad about a 21-0 victory. Kyle Hendricks shoves today, 7 innings, only 2 hits, giving up 2 strikeouts. But if he's getting outs, I don't care how he's getting them.
Yeah.
And on top of it, look at Alfonso Rivas having himself a day. We got 5 RBIs from him on 3 hits. That guy can't go back to AAA. I'm sorry.
No.
There's no way in hell he goes back to AAA. If he gets sent back to Iowa, I will personally riot. Suzuki 3 hits today, Happ 3 hits today, Contreras 3 hits today, VR and Hayward each have 2. Horner, first career 4-hit game for him today. It was literally a circus. Every single person in the lineup, including Hermosillo, who came in afterwards for Suzuki. Good move by Ross today, by the way, letting him get some rest. No need for him to get hurt in a 21-0 blowout. You love to see it. Everybody gets a hit. Everybody's contributing offensively. Again, this team that, Juice, we were told wasn't going to be fun. They were going to be terrible. They were going to be trash. And yet this team is just slapping the ball around the yard. Only one home run today. They put up 21 runs on only one home run.
Yeah.
When was the last time we said that? And when was the last time we said they put up more than 5 runs before this season without more than probably 2 home runs?
I want to go through the whole stats of how many times has somebody put up, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 runs without hitting more than, 1 home run.
Right.
I want to like go through that. And I don't know if it's out there. We've obviously been celebrating, but
we'll find it eventually.
We will.
Eventually.
But what I want to say is that you really, as a Cub fan, you can't complain about today, right?
No.
I mean, Kyle Hendricks goes 7 strong innings, a 2-hit ball. Obviously plays to his strengths, gets the ball on the ground with the wind blowing out. I think that's really going to be understated. The fact of the conditions of what today was, no matter. I know the Cubs put up 21 runs, but only 1 home run with the wind blowing out.
Yeah, that's
let's just put a feather in our cap for that, because, like I said, the conditions were obviously warranted for runs to be scored today, but
absolutely
not in the way that they did. It's kind of fun to watch them, and we talked about it the last show. The Cubs are going to win or lose ball games differently than they have in the last 4 years.
Yes.
They're going to hit the ball around. They're going to play good defense. They're going to pitch. When they get the good guys out there, when they get their starters healthy as well. Oh, here we go.
We've got more Freds, more White Sox.
Surprise,
motherfucker!
and we've been yelling.
Oh, I tripped over the beanbag.
And Buzz has died.
And we've lost Buzz.
No, but I mean, if you want to round out what today was,
yeah.
It was a good starting performance.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good display of hitting.
Absolutely.
And it's great to watch the Cubs play this style of baseball, considering the fact that we've pretty much watched them do this, the opposite of this, for the last 4 years.
Absolutely.
It's been live and die by the long ball, launch angle, things like that. And I want to go back. I was listening during the week, and I didn't get a chance to bring this up on the last podcast. I was listening during the week to Steve Stone and him talking about the shifting of baseball.
Yes.
And the fact that, for forever in the last couple of years, it's been launch angle. And now you're talking more or less, let's put the ball in play. Let's move runners. Let's put some pressure on the defense.
Yeah.
Because in a sense, teams that were built now to win were built more or less to hit the ball far, and they were not worried about his defense as much as they were, in the past couple. So now the game is switching.
Yeah.
It's coming back to that, put the ball in play good defense, pitch well, and that's what wins not only now, but that's what wins in October.
Yeah.
Play good defense, be strong up the middle, pitch,
yeah.
And put the bat on the ball and make the other team field it and throw it to first.
Well, yeah, and
I just want to know how drunk Buzz was down here.
He fell over the beanbag.
He did.
Is he actually injured? That's
no, I think
he did sign a waiver. He signed a waiver.
But I could be totally wrong.
Okay.
But
he looked in bad condition when he got back upstairs.
While we're on the topic here, because I know this is something you can attest to as well, right? It feels like baseball's going back to the more exciting play, right? And you and I talked about this just the other day. And
Triples,
doubles, stolen bases.
Yes.
That's where baseball's going again. And it's kind of exciting. And it's cool to see, at least in our aspect, obviously, with the Cubs and, potentially the White Sox will get there.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about the White Sox today.
No,
Especially not on Cubs on tap.
Yeah, not on Cubs on tap. I mean,
you guys are in a great White Sox home now, recording this. It's fantastic to see you guys here amongst all your Sox fans friends. Southside Ron's here. You've got Kyle. He's wearing my Cowboy Budweiser hat.
Whoa, Juice. So the people don't know.
Sorry for the people. Juice. I'm happy to welcome you guys into this home, this White Sox cave. I'm honored that you guys wanted that for your background today.
Just gonna hammer that home.
Yeah.
Honored that you guys
listen. I'm okay with the White Sox stuff in the back. I got no problem with them. The Packers stuff, it's a different story.
Yeah,
the little Brett Favre, black. I seen it. Bad.
I'm surprised you're not in the cheesehead.
No.
No.
Never.
Okay. Yeah, we got props here.
I might have to piss in it before I walk out.
Like I said, at least it's Favre and not Rodgers.
I like you too much.
I'll get out of your guys' hair. I just wanted to make sure the Buzz was okay. Needed to make sure we didn't need to call an ambulance.
No ambulance is needed today.
No, he'll be okay. He may be a little bit inebriated.
Okay.
So
just slightly.
But that's Buzz.
All right.
And that's what happens with On Tap Sports Net Party.
So hey, cheers.
You guys carry on.
Let's first we were cheersing.
Water?
Well, yeah, it's been a long
I didn't
day.
bring my drink down. I was just
It's
concerned.
we were cheersing to 3 years on tap to start the show.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, we were letting all our viewers know that, hey, we're celebrating today. That's why me and Ron are sitting side by side, and I'm not in SB and he's not in Orland Park.
Mm-hmm.
So
Fantastic.
we were cheersing to that, and Prez right here kills it for us.
The man himself.
He has everybody support us. He's got everybody who's running a whole. I don't think that the viewers understand how much goes into this behind the scenes. You know, there's a lot more than
there's
just putting up the mic and going.
There's the, you know, there's the product that comes out that people see, which is like all of our shows, right? That's the car that comes off the line, but like this man is the freaking assembly line that makes On Tap Sportsnet go.
I don't need all of this. A lot of this is your guys' hard work, and you know, coming on here and doing shows for Cubs fans. I love it. I hate the Cubs, but I love that you guys do this, and I appreciate everybody that tunes into it.
Yeah, and we appreciate you, sir.
But that's all we need, Press.
Yeah, crack them. Get back to your show, guys.
Appreciate
I will go make sure that
Buzz isn't dead.
Well, he might have.
Yeah, he absolutely might have. But and Juice, actually, and this is something that I wanted to bring up too, right? Because we're talking about, you know, the Cubs slapping the ball around the yard, 21 runs, just slapping the ball around the yard. And Rivas, the only home run today. Weird seeing him with 36. I kind of miss 67 because I dig the weird number.
Okay.
Probably because coming from somebody that wore 57 playing college football, I enjoy the weird
number. All right, that's fair.
But here's a really fun stat that I actually stumbled across earlier. Just was harmlessly scrolling Twitter after the game. The Cubs' 21-0 win today over the Pirates is the third largest shutout win in the modern era of baseball, which started in 1900. It's the largest shutout victory in Cubs history. So,
well, yeah, I figured that.
Absolutely. But that's crazy. Third longest in 122 years of baseball. Third largest blowout victory. That is impressive. And again, and a shutout. Like, and the Cubs pitched well today too, right? We're obviously giving Hendricks props. 7 innings out of him, as we mentioned. No walks too, which is awesome. Cubs as a pitching staff did not walk anybody today. But how about Sean Newcomb making his debut today? Looks good. 1K in 1 inning of work. Nothing crazy. Again, I have the pleasure. My cousins all live in Atlanta. One of my cousin that's my age is a diehard Braves fan. So as soon as the trade happened, I asked him. I said, "What are we getting in Sean Newcomb?" And it was after we had did our show, so obviously I couldn't do it in live time when you and I were talking about it. But
sure,
he even said, he was like, he's a guy that has the stuff. He's just been wildly inconsistent in his time in Atlanta. And as soon as I heard wildly inconsistent, I went, the Cubs identified him as a guy to throw in the pitch lab because he has the stuff, and they're going to try and operate and make him into something. And I am very, very excited about that, Juice, because again, we see it time and time again that the Cubs identify guys that have the stuff. They have the potential, but now they have the science behind it to help those guys tap into said potential.
Yeah, stuff is tough to teach too, right?
Yes.
If you're looking at, you know, what he has that nice curveball. He has, you know, the decent fastball with some run on it. You know, if you're really looking at the path for him being successful in Chicago, it's throwing strikes. You know, it's being able to you know, get ahead of guys and finish them off with that good stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's a good start. You know, I think that, like you said, they've identified a guy with, you know, good stuff from the left side, something they needed. It's something that they can, you know, kind of work with to begin this season as they figure out who is a mainstay in the bullpen. You know, I think the biggest thing, you know, and the biggest takeaway in this first couple weeks of the season is, you know, a lot of places in the bullpen and spots are still up for grabs. You know, some have been sorted out. But I think he's a guy that you can look at and you could throw him in a certain spot and say, you know, in a high leverage situation, you know, hey, sink or swim, man. You know, because this is he's been in the majors. He's got this, you know, he's got the stuff. He's got the makeup to be successful. Absolutely. And I'm intrigued. I'm on the other side that I'm not going to get too excited until I see consistency. Because as you said, you know, the inconsistencies that he had in Atlanta is something that, you know, is been well documented. And I look at the Cubs, you know, side of the stuff, and he doesn't seem like the guy who is specifically targeted as this is the savior from the left side. Like the Cubs could easily go out with what they have in the system that they don't believe in and get a high leverage left-hander.
Yes.
If they are down the line contending.
Absolutely.
But this is a nice stopgap to figure out, to give a chance on. And like we said in the last show, we didn't give up much. Jesse Chavez was not going to carve out a significant role in this bullpen. He just wasn't.
Not with the amount of righties.
Yeah, and with the performance you're getting out of Keegan Thompson, and with the performances you're getting out of Scott Effross, and you're getting out of Robertson at the end of the game.
Yep.
There's a lot of good right-handed guys in this bullpen that Jesse Chavez was absolutely expendable at that point. So,
100%.
But it's great to see them put a good pitching game together because it seems like a long time since they've thrown out three guys where you're like, man, all three of them were fantastic today. And they were.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Effross. Effross also made an appearance today. Did give up a hit. No big deal. Struck out 2 as well in his lone inning of work. Again, a guy that the Cubs are kind of operating with. He's kind of out of the blue, and and we'll drop some comments here. We want to acknowledge those that are watching. Scott from Iowa and Tyler, thanks for joining us, boys. We appreciate you here in the comments. Yeah, Eberflus scores runs. We kind of joked about that. The on tap account tweeted after the Cubs on tap game. 21-0. That's a good looking football score. New Bears head coach in attendance as well. And it's true. The Northsiders do have the best record currently in Chicago. And our friend Tyler here. What's up, boys? Freaking slaughter day. Absolutely love to see it. Completely agree. And as we mentioned, Nico locked in with the career high 4 hits. He's thriving in that 9 hole too.
He is.
Absolutely something you love to see. Love to see it. Love to see it. Love Nico in this high spot. Literally, Tyler took the words right out of my mouth. So, but quickly going back to Newcomb, just to kind of wrap up the thoughts on him. I think why this trade is so appealing and so interesting, and you and I talked about it the other night as well. He is the only other lefty other than Daniel Norris in this pen right now, and I think that's the appeal with him. But he's also still pretty young. He's only 28 years old. He had a lot of early success as a young major league player, and then kind of faded out. And another quote from my cousin when I spoke to him, he said, a lot of it wasn't necessarily Newcomb not being able to do well. He had a 12-9 record, 160-something innings in his second year as a pitcher. Brian McCann had a lot of good things to say about Newcomb as well, which Brian McCann's a Hall of Fame catcher, so that makes me happy hearing that from a guy like him. But he was kind of pushed out in Atlanta. Soroka, Fried, you now have guys like Ian Anderson and all these young kids that the Braves have brought up through their system. It was really easy for them to push Newcomb to the bullpen. And I think that's why a lot of people forgot about who he was. It's why the Cubs trade makes a ton of sense. And something we didn't mention the other night on the other show was Jesse Chavez was with the Braves last season and actually performed very well in Atlanta. So it's kind of like hey, Chavez, go back to where you were and absolutely succeeded. I think he pitched 36 games for them, started a couple games as well. Had a 2-something ERA. Like he was really good for Atlanta last season. And then you bring in Newcomb, a guy that's a perfect, hey, put him in the pitch lab, see what he's got with the Cubs. And again, looks good today in his debut. He was technically available yesterday. They didn't end up needing him. But we did get to see 4 innings of Keegan Thompson, which was cool and tough because that dude just continues to fucking shove coming out of the bullpen in that long relief role. But Juice, we talked about keeping the show very short. We're at the 18 mark. So I do want to quickly turn it back over to you. Just, again, any final thoughts? It's a great win today, 21-0 here from the Cubs. We're hoping to get a show in tomorrow. We'll see how schedules align and play. If not, Monday is an off day, so we will for sure be back on Monday, if not tomorrow. And then the Cubs are in Atlanta come Tuesday. Hopefully they get the split with Pittsburgh tomorrow. And then we can talk about how to beat the Braves 2 out of 3 down in that ballpark. I hope somebody hits it into the fucking chop house in right field. I hope it's Suzuki as well. But Juice, final thoughts on the Cubs weekend.
Yeah, kind of praying to God for a split tomorrow, right? And that's kind of a disappointing split.
Yeah.
If you're looking at what, this Pirates team is, the great play today, but, you really kind of squandered the first 2. And with them right there, you are absolutely able to win those ball games. But yeah, looking forward, we talked about Alfonso Rivas, really shortly. Mm-hmm. I want to see what this kid can do. Absolutely. I really do. I want him to have more time at the major league level. And as much as I love Frazier, I want to see them find a spot for Rivas. I really do. I want to see them give him regular at bats for a guy who is 25. I think he's 25 years old. 25,
super young,
very young.
Super young.
And with that power, with that, good, average that he's kind of carried over last year and kind of had a somewhat good season in the 2021 campaign.
Yeah.
You start to kind of look at this year as let's figure out if we actually have something here, because then you've solved the need. As much as we love, Frank the Tank, he's not a long-term, solution at that position. Or, I mean, if Rivas is, a DH, you could start to look at, the fact that you don't have to pay extra money to go out and get that elite hitter. So let's pray to God that, they get the chance. I want him to get the chance to go out there and show what he could do. And if he fails, then you can send him to AAA.
Sure.
And you can say, hey, you didn't work out. But you know what? I think that he deserves every single chance to succeed in the league, because I think he's got some potential. We showed it today.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I completely agree with you. And I think the interesting thing about Rivas as well, especially with the Swindell situation, is like, yeah, Frank worked on his defense, in the offseason, and you can very clearly see that so far. But Rivas is probably the better defender of the two. Mm-hmm. So maybe Rivas is your everyday first baseman, and then Frank is your DH, right? And then if you want to spell Rivas and give him a break, you can put Frank at first and then move somebody else to the DH role. I think that's the one thing with this Cubs team is there's so much flexibility with roles that guys have right now. And I think that's so important, and certainly something that's going to be interesting to watch. So I'm right there with you, Juice. But my final thought, I just hope they play the game tomorrow. So I'm looking at the forecast right now. I have it down here in front of me. A lot of rain in the forecast tomorrow, pretty much from about 6 a.m. until 5 p.m. There will be rain, so we will see what happens. If you're listening to this live, obviously this is tomorrow. If you are listening to this on Sunday, let's hope there's no rain today. Then is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But if the game is has to be made up, it'll probably just be rescheduled as a part of a doubleheader. We've already seen that with the Milwaukee game. That's going to be played as a day-night doubleheader on Memorial Day. I have tickets to the evening game. Probably going to buy tickets to the early game too. But, so hopefully they even play baseball tomorrow. But if they do, hopefully the Cubs get the split, go into an off day on Monday, head out to Atlanta. You're going into nicer weather too. The weather's going to become kind of shittier here in Chicago again, and really the Chicagoland area again. So hopefully they can take advantage of the warm weather, and then they're up in the dome in Milwaukee, because fuck the Brewers and I hate that team. But nonetheless, we do want to remind everybody, Cubs on Tap, we are the official Cubs podcast of the On Tap Sports Network. You can check out all of our great work over at www.ontapsportsnet.com and at OnTapSportsNet on social media. You can follow the pod specific accounts here for Cubs on Tap. We are at Cubbies on Tap, CUBBIES, on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Loose on Tap on Twitter. This man over here is at Juice on Tap on Twitter. And follow all of our other great contributors at Teddy Freddy 270, Mr. Tyler in the comments, friend of the program, Scott from Iowa as well. You can follow him. But at Joe on Tap, at Joey Knows Nothing, because it ends in IN, because that stands for Win Baby, because he's with On Tap Bets, and we'll touch on that here in just a second. But make sure you follow all that contribute here to the Cubs side of the house here at On Tap Sportsnet. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, we've got it all. And yes, you saw a bunch of them come through on our show today if you watched live, or you heard them on if you're listening as a podcast.
Make sure you hug one today. They've had a really rough day.
They have. They've had a very rough day. They got absolutely shit kicked by the Twins today. And if you ask any of them, they probably hate the Twins more than anybody else. That's like their version of the Cardinals, essentially, for us Cubs fans. So, if you have a friend that's a Sox fan, Cubs fans, give them a hug today, because they certainly need it. But our boys over at Sox on Tap do a great job covering the Southsiders. Be sure to check all of them out. Doo-doo. They played like doo-doo today. But nonetheless, be sure to check them all out. As we mentioned, On Tap Bets, we do have great gambling content. Joey does a lot of that here, so you're very familiar with him. If you are a Cubs On Tap listener, we've got golf. We've got really everything, and pretty much every other Chicago sports team, minor league, right major league. Yeah, it's a big. I think it's a big card tonight too. Actually, if I remember correctly, I wouldn't know either. To be honest with you, I don't keep up with it enough. But you can keep up with all of that over at OnTapSportsNet.com and at OnTapSportsNet on social media. The OnTap Sports Network. Go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Juice, this was fun getting to do this live.
It was, man.
We're celebrating 3 years of On Tap today. The Cubs absolutely shit kicked the Pirates, which was cool and fucking tough.
Yeah, so we can go back upstairs and nobody can say shit to us.
No, they really can't, because they got shit kicked today too by the Twins, so it's fine. But what do you say, buddy? We got here the only way we know how to here at Cubs on Tap.
Fuck the Cardinals.
And let's go Cubbies.